Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Manga Thursday. Today's manga is Star-Crossed by Junko, published by Kodansha Comics. First of all, I want to say I love this manga. This is a good turn off your brain and enjoy the ride book. Nothing is taken seriously, and this is just pure romance comedy, and I love it. So with that said, let's start talking about our protagonist. Our protagonist is Azusa Asa. Azu is an average high schooler who's obsessed with boy bands like everyone. Well, I should say a pop idol group, because I think that's more of a Japanese thing where it's pop idol and not boy bands. Anyway, she's obsessed with this one, Prince for You, or P4U as abbreviated in the book. And her favorite in the group is Chikashi Cheetah. We'll talk about him later. And yeah, she's a bit of an obsessive fan. By that I mean, she tries to make herself perfect to be quote-unquote worthy of being Chika-kun's fan. She's a bit crazy, but it's fun. You just have to read it because she's cute and adorable. But she's like kind of like a Jekyll and Hyde kind of identity swaps. When she's with Chika-kun, she is like any other fangirl. She wants to take pictures with him. And we actually find out that she is the class president. And every student, admires her and respects her. And, of course, they all don't know that she is a secret, obsessive fan. So, we got that going on. Next, let's talk about a little side character, Fumi. He's Azu's childhood friend, and, of course, we gotta have some manga tropes. He secretly is in love with her. She doesn't know, obviously. And that's about all we get of him in this book. We don't get a real lot, but I know he comes back in the next volume because I've already read that one. And he gets a little bit more. He still doesn't really get that much screen time, so it's weird. It's mostly about Chika and Azu, obviously. And speaking of Chika, let's go to our second protagonist, Chikashi Cheetah. We don't really get much information about Cheetah, mostly because we follow Azu. But when we first meet him, he seems kind of depressed, and the other members of the band or pop idol group, whatever, they're trying to make him happy and this is how you do it, and they put their fingers on his face to make him smile, try to fix not fix him, but try to get him to smile more. And that's about it from what we get at the beginning, because the plot happens after that. But anyway, the other groups are not worth talking about really, because we basically follow Chikashi and Azu. The story's about them and their hijinks. But the one member I will talk about is Haruki Hajime, and that's because I read the second volume. He becomes a bit bigger in the next volume, so if you read it, just keep your eyes open. It's pretty obvious he was going to be a slightly bigger deal in the next volume anyway, from what happens in this story. The characters out of the way, we still got one coming up later, but it's a short one. We don't really need to talk about it too much. Let's talk about the plot. So the story starts with Azu going to a Prince for You concert. They're starting a tour, and this is the first stop. She's really excited, and she makes note that she's never been this close. She got front row, and she's never been that close to the stage before. So she's obviously losing her mind when the music starts. And she gets really excited when Chika-kun gets a solo. I'm sorry if I keep switching. Chika-kun and Cheetah are the same person. I'm sorry if I'm confusing you. It's just that in the book it says Chika-kun a lot, so I get confused. I just call him Chika-kun. Anyway, during his solo song, the lights above him start to fall. And without Azu thinking, she jumps out of her seat and pushes Chika-kun, see, I told you, out of the way. But it doesn't really, I was going to say it doesn't really work. It doesn't work. They both get crushed by the lights and die. And then they wake up and they both meet God. And basically, God says they weren't supposed to die. It's, I don't want to say it, but it's kind of a trope. They're like, oh, you weren't meant to die. But that's what happens, and they weren't supposed to die. It was a mistake by one of his associates, he says. So he's going to send them back, and he does everything, and everything is hunky-dory. Well, that is until the next night. Azu's at the second concert, and while Chika-kun is singing, I don't know if it's during another one of his solos, but when he's singing, they switch bodies. They don't know what's going on, and Azu is obviously in Chika's bodies on stage, and because he got lucky, because Azu is such a fan of his, she knows all the choreographed moves and all the songs, so she finishes off the concert perfectly. And afterwards they start talking when a letter from the sky falls down, a letter from God telling them that there was a mistake and that he's trying to figure out what's going on. And so now they don't know how it happens, but they just switch bodies, and then eventually they trigger again and they go back to the original bodies. And that's really the premise of the story, is that they go on with their lives. Basically, here's the thing. Obviously, it's their feelings for each other, I guess. I mean, whenever they're in like an awkward position, like when their hearts beat or whatever, they switch bodies, which is pretty hilarious in some of the wacky ways that they get into those positions. But the next and final character that we need to talk about is Matsumoto, and he's the manager of Prince for You, and he takes care of Chika-kun. I don't know. It's I assume he's the manager for all of them, but we only really see him with Chika-kun. So, but during this whole thing, they had no choice but to tell him what's going on, and of course he doesn't believe them until he gets a vision from God, and God talks to him and shows him his one of his dead cats when he was a kid, and so now he's up to speed and he's all for it. He knows what's going on, and it was actually a pretty funny scene. I like how they did that. And that's all I'm going to tell you. Obviously, other stuff happens in the book, but that was the main premise. And I don't want to tell you everything that happens in the book, because I want you to pick up this book. I want you to pick it up, read it, love it. If you're a fan of just straight up comedy with a little sprinkle of romance thrown in every now and then, this is for you. Like I said at the beginning, this is a good turn off your brain manga. I absolutely adore this. And if you really like it, good and / bad news, it just ended. So if you really like this, all 4 volumes are out, so you can read the entire series in one go, or you can just pick it up 1 volume at a time, like any other manga. I don't know why I'm telling you how to pick up your manga, but hey, this is the kind of episode that this is. Anyway, thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, leave comments. What is there anything else I missed? Anyway, again, really love this manga. I highly recommend it. Thank you for watching. See you next week. Bye.